Hello and welcome to a very special podcast. I am the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy, Mediocrity 4, and we are talking about Mandalorian Season 2.
And I am going to do my very best not to just talk about Star Wars The Clone Wars the entire time. But no
Man,
promises.
this season really made that hard.
Yeah, this is not going to be easy. Probably going to fail very hard at this,
Yeah.
dude.
I'm gonna use this opportunity to talk as much as I possibly can about Star Wars The Clone Wars, just for the sake of making you talk about it.
We've been waiting for that podcast for years now, haven't we?
Yeah. It'll happen
And
eventually. It'll happen one day.
And I am John Galt. I am here to talk for 4 hours about something. No, I'm kidding. I'm Robert. I am currently reading out of the Shrug, though. It's kind of interesting, although I haven't gotten to the really long speech yet. But anyway, hello.
All right, so last year we did a podcast on Mandalorian Season 1, and it did all right.
Wasn't there?
Yeah, you weren't there, Robert. Who was that? Was it me, Coop, Dude, and High Powered with us? Was High Powered with us?
I do not recall.
Was I there?
I don't think he saw. I know you were there, Dude, because you talked about like all your favorite westerns and stuff.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
let me go ahead and just check real quick if I might.
Yeah, I don't remember who all was there. Yeah. It was a year ago.
I haven't been on the podcast in a while. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Work's been crazy.
Yeah, Robert, Robert, one of these days, either before the hiatus is done, you and me, we could talk about, Ruby Volume 8 so far, or we can do that, in the summer after Volume 8 is over. I wanted to do that with Sock after Volume 7, but it just never worked out. But
it was actually like literally just us three minus Robert on that one.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay, I remember that.
So yeah.
Gotcha.
So, real quick though, Mandalorian is the Disney Plus exclusive, and it's not the only show on Disney Plus now. In fact, that they're by the time you guys are actually, I think tonight as we are recording this, WandaVision is dropping. I'll have to check that. I think we are recording, not to completely date this podcast, we're recording this on January 10th, 2021. And I'm pretty sure tonight is when WandaVision comes out, which I've been excited for. But this is still the flagship, franchise, and it's been spearheading the whole Disney Plus experiment, especially with 2020 being what it was. Streaming sites like Disney Plus, Hulu Plus, Netflix, Amazon Prime, they became a lot more important than they already were. And they were already looking to completely replace television en masse. Now it's looking like they're going to be replacing movie theaters in general as well. So much like Season 1, this had a lot riding on it, and so it had to try to... Mandalorian, I think, is one where they want to play things safe, because they want this to be the one that everyone thinks is pretty good. And then everything else can be divisive, love it or hate it. So long as they have a strong foundation, which, as we said for Season 1, it was a strong foundation. This season, I think the highs were a lot higher and the lows were a lot lower. For you three, was this better or worse than Season 1?
Same mostly overall. Maybe a little bit better. Like, I liked both of them. I had both a good time on them.
Yeah. I liked both a lot as well. I would say it's the difference is between the original impact of the show in general, right? That's what Season 1 has going for it, in my opinion. And just the original intrigue of Mando and Baby Yoda and what's going to happen with that in the beginning, versus in this one, the awesomeness of things getting expanded further, right? Yeah. So it's, which of those two are you going to pick? I've already dropping my resolution because I'm a Clone Wars fan. I have to pick this one. Okay, like I can't not pick this. It's hard for me not to enjoy this even more. And the last episode too. I mean, Filoni already fixed the prequels in a way by doing the Clone Wars, and now he's already working on fixing and retconning the sequels.
Sequels.
Like he's already doing that. It's like, I mean, God, he just does everything to help us. Like, so I would say right now I would pick this one because I know a lot of people originally were like, it's kind of funny, like a lot of people when they originally praised the first one, they were talking about, oh, it's so great to have something that isn't connected to the greater Star Wars universe. And I was like, I remember when I read that, I was like, yeah, that's not going to last because it's Star Wars. That's not going to happen. You just know that's not going to happen, and Filoni's involved. So I knew that wasn't going to stay like that. And I'm glad that they've connected it more to the greater Star Wars universe. I appreciate that. And I think they did it very well. So that's what makes me slightly prefer, I think, season 2 right now. But I agree that the lows are lower. Like episode 2 was blah as hell. Like that was probably the worst episode in the series so far.
Yeah,
Even
that
worse
was-
than
That's
Yeah,
what
that
most
was
everybody
that
agrees
one
on.
was the one that was
Yeah.
directed
Yeah.
by the guy who did Ant-Man. Peyton Reed.
Oh, okay, well there you go.
Okay. Yeah, I think. Yeah, no, it's been a little too long. I think I would need to watch season 1 and season 2 like back to back to be able to really say. I feel like this season had a few more like eyebrow raising moments for me. Some of them were related to like characters that showed up from the Clone Wars and also Rebels, but I can't think of anything that really like made me definitively say, "Oh, this is way worse." So
Most
I
of
think
the
there's
stuff,
I think it's still the same.
most of the problems in relation to those did actually like come from their Rebels appearances rather than their Clone Wars ones. Like,
Maybe.
because if you think about it, like the main thing that everybody was fucking going off about was like, well, the thing that is basically the one loose thread that's a pretty big thread that has yet to be wrapped up.
Are these Chuck Tingle books like actually serious novels?
High powered. Yes, they are.
High powered.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
Robert hasn't been on for a while.
I have not.
Yeah, we're talking Mandalorian Season 2.
Oh, did I just? Oh no! I'll believe.
I think we were talking.
Good to have you cameo,
Chuck
especially with the
Tingle?
Chuck
Who the hell
Tingle
is that?
reference. I will put his latest book title here in High Powered's place for that minute. Because it is his. I haven't read a single thing he's written, but I have seen all of his book covers, and they are an experience.
They usually have a dinosaur of some sort on them.
Yes.
So that's
I'll
cool.
have to Google them.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a rabbit hole.
Anyway,
So Mandalorian Season 2. A lot of Clone Wars stuff in this, and I guess Rebels by association.
a little bit, yeah.
And that's where it kind of, where dude, you said that you got to pick this season. That's where it kind of started to lose me, because I felt like they were just trying to throw Clone Wars and Rebels fans a bone, and they were a little occupied on setting up all these shows that they just announced recently, like Ahsoka's getting her own show.
Yeah.
The Bad Batch,
show.
Boba Fett is getting his own show now.
The Bad Batch are getting it? Huh.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
It depends. See, that's the thing. For right now, I disagree with you, media. But I could be proven wrong with time because we don't know what next season's going to be like, right? I don't know.
I mean,
but-
I would be able to reasonably predict about it at the very least, because like you kind of said, where it kind of opened up a lot of stuff in the first one, it wrapped a bunch of that up, except like literally probably just one thing, and that's really the only thing that it can focus on now is what is Din Djarin gonna fucking do with the dark saber.
Yeah.
It's and that's it seems like a small question, but giving like the entire deal with various factions of the Mandalorians and their entire honor culture and stuff and all of that, it might turn into some big shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think season 3 is going to deal primarily with Mandalore and like
Yep.
reestablishing that as like an actual thing again.
Yeah.
My point
For
was that I'm not saying that. What I disagreed with was that it's that it lost me when they started making those connections, because to me, yeah, I mean they're making connections with those upcoming shows, but I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing, because I think they're doing a sort of
Yeah.
MCU-ish sort of thing with Star Wars, which, let's be honest, if there's something besides the MCU that would work for well, it's Star Wars, right? That, or like DC, if Warner Brothers didn't completely suck, right? So
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So this would
Yeah.
work very well for that. And if any couple people are going to do it, it's a guy that was involved in the MCU, and Dave Filoni. So, and I most of those things, when it happened, like, it all made sense to me within just the Mandalorian
Yeah.
itself, right? So
Yeah.
I don't. That's what I'm saying. It's fine. It didn't lose me at that point. Um, so I still liked it. I liked it's how it's still intertwined with everything, and I'm assuming we're going to see all of those people interact with each other again in the Mandalorian or Ahsoka or whatever. Like, you're going to see people weave in and out of each other's
Yeah.
Yeah.
shows, so that's why I don't really have a problem with it. They're building something bigger, like a more TV oriented Star Wars, which Star Wars, obviously Dave's already proven to us that Star Wars kind of works better as a TV show than a movie anyway. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
like,
mean,
Harry Potter would
it's
have worked a lot better
originally
as a TV show also. Anything with that
yeah.
much content would work better as a TV show.
Well, Star Wars was originally inspired by pulp serials, which were effectively TV shows before television was a thing, before
Yeah.
people even had TVs in their houses. Um, so yeah, the connection there was very easy, and getting back to those roots is why Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 worked so well. But
Yeah.
the reason why I think it works as an expanded universe thing, and where I think this season did do a lot better at that than the sequel trilogy or Rogue One, and it's the same quality that comic books have, and that's the open interpretation, the differences and stuff. Like we get this very blatantly in episode 3 of this season, which is it's oh god, what's the actual name of the episode? It's called the Heiress. It's directed by
The
Bryce
Heiress?
Dallas Howard. It's the one where Bo Katan shows up, and she takes off her helmet, which kind of answers some lore questions we had about the Mandalorian. Like, okay, since when is the whole helmet thing a thing? Oh, that's just one sect of the religion. Like that's just
Yeah.
one.
He's a religious
Yeah.
zealot compared to all these others. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just one part of it. And I like that because that is how like actual religion works. That's how actual mythology works, and that's something that a lot of urban fantasies and epic fantasies, that's where they start to falter, because they're quote unquote myths aren't actually myths. They're history. There's a difference. Whereas with Star Wars, especially as it gets more and more like content crammed into it, it's becoming much more mythic than something with just a really long history.
I love, one of my favorite things about this season was how Bo-Katan just basically made fun of Din Djarin for like being one of those Mandalorians, because I remember that was one of the questions a lot of people, including myself, had in the first season. It's like, that seems like they're retconning what Mandalorians are. Like, it's kind of weird that Filoni would do that, right?
Yeah.
Because that's clearly not how the Mandalorians are in any other place, right? So why is he like that? And then, we get an explanation. It's because he was part of a weird cult that's even weirder than most Mandalorians already are, and he gets made fun of. He gets made fun
Well,
of for it, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
like like to a certain extent that's okay, but like I think it really depends on where they go with it, whether or not I'll cotton to it very well or not, because there are certain parts of it that I think are superior over what Bo-Katan does, which is basically she just decides whatever it is that the code needs to be for her own convenience at any given time, so that she doesn't have to do whatever she doesn't want, which we've seen from the Clone Wars and from Rebels.
Yeah, but
Whereas he actually has like a code that he relatively sticks to.
yeah, that is true. Is that I don't know? It is one of those things where it's like, oh, Bo-Katan is switching sides again. Like she's done
Yeah.
this like 4 times over the course of the series and
And then
stuff
she always-
like that. So
She always makes up
It's-
some form of excuse to make it to spin it to seem like it's still in keeping with the proper way of doing stuff.
yeah.
But they do.
And with a lot of the things that Din does, it feels a little more like I don't know. And that is something that they kind of talk about in episode 7 is like sometimes or is they kind of discuss the idea of a code and how sometimes you sacrifice the rules to uh get things done and stuff like that. But I do think that it's I don't know. I do kind of I am curious to see where they go with that, if there's I don't know, a decision to hold on to a code or if it's just whatever I have to do. But yeah.
So, for those of you here who are more familiar with Rebels, which I'm not, I've only seen a handful of episodes. What do you think of the casting, particularly Katie Sackhoff as Bo-Katan and Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka?
So Katie Sackhoff has all voiced Bo-Katan in the original, didn't she? In Rebels
I have no clue.
and in Clone Wars. So yeah, so she's always voiced her. So a lot of people didn't have a problem with that. I know that a lot of people were pretty on board with that, and she's done she was what's her face? She was Starbuck in the live in
Battlestar Galactica.
yeah, Battlestar Galactica years ago. So she's done voice acting, she's done live action acting. So I don't think there's really anything to complain about there. Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, I know that was met with a certain degree of controversy.
Well, that's just because she's not woke enough for them.
Well, no, there's some other stuff along with that kind
and it's
of.
also there's a different. They also wish that it had been the voice actress and stuff like that. I know that, but
I don't agree with that.
Yeah, but
I love Ashley Eckstein, but I don't agree with that. I think Rosario Dawson is much it worked. It's Katie Sackhoff looks like Ahsoka, and I'm sorry, but
you mean
Bo-Katan? Sorry, Bo-Katan. Yeah. I'm just slipping up. Yeah, but Ashley Eckstein does not look like Ahsoka. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Okay.
So
and I also know that there was some controversy because Ahsoka's tentacles or whatever, they're not as long as they were in Rebels, and they weren't as I don't know, they look more if you look at her in Rebels and you look at her in Clone Wars, her tentacle, and I guess this is whatever species, just because of whatever species she is, her tentacles get longer and stuff like that as she ages, and in this it looks more like she did in Clone Wars, and people were kind of complaining about that. It's because it's hard to do stunts and fight with those things hanging down over your shoulders. So I understand why they did.
You gotta make sacrifices.
To be fair on that, there wasn't much in the way of stunts and fighting that she did.
At least with Rosario Dawson, but also her stunt double and stuff like that was saying no, I did not need anything in my way either. But yeah.
Nah, really the her fight scenes throughout that were kind of not the greatest there were ever. It was kind of boring throughout that whole episode with all of them, at least as far as I could tell.
Well,
it didn't seem like it was very
as
frenetic to the point where that would have gotten in the way too much. I can't see any time where that would have been a problem.
Yeah, I do think that on the whole, that was probably the weakest episode in the season, if for no other reason than we have a good idea on how strong Ahsoka is, and even if you don't, she is Jedi, or at least Jedi trained, and so like Imperial Guard chick with spear and dude with dude with gun aren't really like a credible threat for Darth Vader's apprentice and dude with indestructible armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They that episode also did kind of overbuff the Beskar too much, I think, because it used to be, yes, it was blaster resistant, but now it
Lightsaber proof.
yeah, it's essentially cortosis without the side benefit of short circuiting the blade. Like it's crazy. Like yeah, it does kind of make sense, but like it also doesn't, because we've been shown that they can melt it, and that's how lightsabers do stuff, is they melt it.
Yeah.
Like what blast furnace are you using that's churning out a greater degree of temperature than a freaking lightsaber? Like you probably got some fucking crazy power and wattage going into that thing.
Yeah, no, that's that's definitely a thing there where it's like, okay, just how sturdy is this armor, which is why I'm glad which is kind of one of the things I really liked in episode 7, where he's out of the Beskar and he's vulnerable and stuff. I thought that was kind of cool, reminding us that he's not just the armor. But yeah, do we want to go episode by episode and discuss, or I don't know?
I mean, we can.
No, I don't really see much point in it. I think holistically is probably the best approach.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I guess. Go ahead.
Since we're on the subject of like his armor and stuff, how did you feel about him taking his helmet off twice in this season?
Sorry, taking the helmet off twice.
Yeah, taking the helmet off twice and showing his face. I think it would have hit a lot harder had it just been the one time with Baby Yoda. Or had that not been literally one episode after we see him take it off in front of Bill Burr.
Yeah, I think it would have been it'd be better if it wasn't one right after the other. I don't mind it being twice. I think it's kind of on purpose to show that like there are things that are becoming more important to him than like his
kind of going through a character. Yeah, kind of going through a character.
So I have a problem. Yeah, exactly. But I agree definitely that doing it one right after the other, even if it's for the same reason both times, kind of, because it's basically both for Baby Yoda. Like that's why he's doing it both times.
I think it probably could have been like mitigated a little bit if they had just the first time done not a camera angle that showed it.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Like if they had just
if it
shown him
wasn't the
do it
first
from
time
the back.
we'd seen his face, or if it wasn't the third time that we've seen his face. Like we did not need to see his face in season 1. We did not need to. We did not need to see his face in season 1. I did kind of like in episode 7 and stuff like that, him having the helmet off for a like kind of extended a period of time, because I think it was kind of, like I said, it was kind of cool seeing him vulnerable, seeing like the fact that he does not know how to communicate with people without like, his helmet off, and like how uncertain he is throughout all of that. I did think that was kind of cool, but in the interest of making that moment between him and Grogu like an actual meaningful one, I think it would have been a lot more meaningful if we hadn't already seen his face twice before. It's one of those, which do you like more? This scene where he, takes off his helmet and we get to see, Pedro Pascal, kind of showcasing his fish out of water acting, or the last episode where we see it for the first time and he shows it to someone that he really cares about. So
like I said, I don't think it's so much like him taking it off that's the bad thing. I think it's just us seeing it that was the bad thing about it more.
Yeah.
So
because obviously he takes it off in private, and we saw that in episode 4 of season 1, where like he just locks himself in a room, takes his helmet off to eat, and we just never see his face. Like that was like one of the cooler scenes in that episode. here we don't really get anything to that nature.
And like I said,
Let's-
we did not need to see his face in season 1.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about the other big special guest star of this season, Tamora Morrison, returning as Boba Fett, or as I wanted to call him, Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I love Boba Fett.
Yeah, I know. I heard some people kind of complaining about that he looks a little chunkier, like particularly when he first puts the his armor back on and he's fighting the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
But it's like he's older now. He's an older
Yeah.
man, and again, you watch Star Wars Rebels, we see what Rex looks like when he with a little age on him. So the idea that he put on a little more weight, I thought that was kind of cool, and he still feels like a badass. Still feels like he can, he's still taking out troops with like the what is it called, gaffy stick and stuff like that.
The gaffy stick. Oh, he kicked all kinds of ass in that episode.
And I appreciate, and I do kind of like the bloodless gore of him just whacking the guy and shattering his armor. It's all like, oh, he's dead. It's like, I don't need to see the blood. I know that if if it does that to the helmet, there's no way the face survived. So I did really like seeing him in action.
Yeah, I also liked his partnership with Finnick, is that her name? I think the actress's name is Ming-Na Wen, who was in season 1. Who was in season 1? She was the sniper chick that Mando and the one dude took down together, which we did see in season 1. We did see someone walk up on her body at the end of that episode, and so it was really nice that they they kind of thought that out. They kind of thought that through, and so like what felt like at the time the most filler episode of season 1 ended up being one of the more consequential episodes of season 1, because she kicks a lot of ass this season too. She shows up with Boba Fett, kicks as much ass as he does, is in the next episode when Boba Fett is like kind of just flying around waiting to be the getaway driver, and she's just dropping dudes there. And then, that leads into the finale where she gets a lot more fighting than most of the other characters in that episode. Is just she is awesome. I really like her in a way I really didn't even care in season 1.
Hey, Kathleen Kennedy. Here's how you make a female Asian character that everybody likes. Boom.
Space Asian.
God,
It's ironic because Ming-Na Wen was the voice of Mulan.
Wait, was she? Hold on.
She was the voice of Mulan in the original animated one.
What?
I was making fun of the whole thing about what was Rose Tico, and everybody was like, like Asian racism and female blah blah blah. It's like, no, it's because her character sucked. That's why.
I thought you were talking.
No, I'm just making fun of
Kathleen
Kennedy. Kathleen Kennedy is responsible, at least in part, for Rose Tico. And then when everybody hated Rose Tico, I agree that some people took it too far and they got personal on Twitter. But every fandom has douchebags like that. But there were people saying like, oh, it's because everybody's like racist against Asians and because she's a woman. It's like, no, it's because her character was trash tier. Now, how they acted was stupid, but the reason why they were angry was not because she was Asian or female. It's because she sucked. Whereas Ming-Na Wen's character, I haven't seen anybody dislike her. Everybody seems to fucking love her. Why? Because she's awesome. So clearly, being female and Asian is not the issue.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it does.
Because Dave Filoni was more responsible for this. Gee, I wonder if the writing behind the character has a lot more to do with the character than who actually portrays the character. Oh, what a surprise.
Yeah, I especially liked her in episode 7 with it was her, Gina Carano's character returning from season 1, and Bill Burr's character also returning from season 1, and they're like all three of them were snipers during the Galactic Civil War. Gina Carano's character was part of the rebellion. Trooper, right? Yeah, she was part of the rebellion. And the other two were Imperial snipers, and they're just like bantering, and then they just start dropping people like flies.
Yeah. And Bill Burr just fires one shot and blows up the entire thing. They're just like,
Bill
Which I
Burr,
Whatever
remember.
helps you sleep at night.
I don't
Yeah.
think he was a sniper per se. I thought he was a scout trooper. They said.
No, he was no. He specifically said he was an Imperial sharpshooter, and
Yeah.
explicitly said I was not a stormtrooper because they're like, oh wow, oh you were a sniper, oh wow, I'm sure you had great names. Like, no, I was not. I was not a stormtrooper. I'm not one of those scrubs.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Which
I mean,
was
I love Bill Burr, but it's impressive that I like Fennec Shan even more than Bill Burr's character.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
that's,
same.
Well, no, he did his pretty damn good in this
He
one.
did.
Yeah.
I
Oh, he
think.
did. He definitely did.
Yeah.
He did.
One thing I did wonder about actually with Boba Fett was why did he let Cobb hold on to his armor for like who knows
he
how
didn't
long?
he didn't have a
know where it
say.
was.
Yeah, he didn't know where it was.
I
The
guess
Jawas
that's
had
true.
it.
Is that it was
Yeah, the
just
yeah,
way out
yeah.
of the way town that everyone thought was gone.
Well, no.
But-
Cobb got it from the Jawas. So
That's
Boba Fett lost it. The Jawas like stole it from him, and he's just like wandering the desert for however long after that. And meanwhile, Cobb has the armor in a town that's not even on the maps anymore.
Yeah, so I guess that's fair, and it's like it's a big planet, or kind of something you got to remember with Star Wars. These are entire planets. It takes a while to travel them.
Yeah, just point out, I love the cast. I mean, the casting in the series overall, I think, is fantastic. I personally like Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka a lot. I think that was an excellent choice. I don't know all the controversy with why people don't like that. I don't care because I think she did a good job so far. The issues with like Ahsoka were, I mean, I agree she should have beat the shit out of the person she fought a lot easier than she did. That's not Rosario Dawson's fault. But like I think that casting is good. I love Ming-Na Wen as Shan. Oh my god, I love casting Timothy Oliphant as the Marshal was fucking brilliant.
Yes.
I mean, it's obvious, but it's still so good.
So I was like, I love Timothy Oliphant. I think he's a very underrated actor.
Yes,
I think
yes.
when
him
you
and
give
Cillian
him,
Murphy are two of the most underrated actors.
I think
right
when
now.
you give him a good script, he can disappear in a role and be completely unrecognizable. But for some reason, I think it's because he just likes Western, so he's always on the lookout. So he always gets casted as these like federal marshal type characters.
Yep, but he does them so well, it doesn't matter.
I really liked him here. He looked good in Boba Fett's armor. And I liked his kind of like warm pragmatism. And the banter he had with Mando when they were like hunting down the crate dragon and stuff.
I just remember, what are you gonna do? I don't know, but wish me luck.
I like the whole thing of like, yeah, sure, I'll give you the armor if you just help me with this thing. Like, it's kind of not what we were expecting. You expect him to like kill somebody, or the guy that has the armor just be an asshole and he deserves to die or whatever. And he was not like that. It was kind of like in the middle. So I really liked that first episode because it's kind of, in my opinion, kind of different than what we were expecting. Also, just shout outs to them casting Richard Ayoade as Q90 as the robot. If you don't know Richard Ayoade, he's fucking hilarious. So I really like that.
What was the show he was in? What's he known for?
He's he hosts some like travel shows. He's always on the Big Fat Quiz of the Year. If you haven't watched that, like he's on that every single year, which is always really, really funny. It's like a British pub quiz show that they do at the end of every year. And he's really funny. He was in the Mighty Boosh and the IT Crowd.
IT Crowd is where I know him
IT
from.
Crowd is where you know him from, probably.
Yeah,
I know him from the Mighty Boosh.
So good. He always plays like that kind of like. He's like, he is a nerd and then he acts even nerdier than he actually is, but he does it so much more. It's like what the Big Bang Theory was trying to do is what Richard Ayoade is in real life. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah. I did also think it was fun to have the Mithril back just for that moment of him evacuating his thorax when he sees the Mando. It's like,
I'm trying to think.
We want to talk about the Luke moment.
Sure, I was hoping to build up to that a little more, but yeah, Luke shows up at the end. It fits. I think it was perfect. The CG, I've heard a lot of people like, oh, it looks so fake. Like, I don't think it does. See, I was watching, unlike season one, I was watching this with someone. I was watching this with my mom, who, she's not all up in the Clone Wars lore or the technology side of things. She thought that they just found a doppelganger to play him.
Well,
Like
oddly enough, they
she
kind of did.
she
That
did, yeah.
that model that they used, the actor that played it, he actually does look a lot like that. So I'm wondering kind
It
of
was Mark
why
Hamill,
they.
but yeah.
No, no,
Yeah,
no, no. It wasn't Mark Hamill that did it. I forget who it was. What his name was, but he
Mark Hamill
looks.
did the voice though.
Oh, the voice.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah. They could have easily though dubbed it over this guy without using the CG, and it probably would have looked the exact same, and nobody would have complained about it. The dubbing over probably would have been weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I did like, or
they had their own light side equivalent of the Darth Vader in the hallway scene from Rogue One.
yeah,
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
that
I did
was
like that.
they did that on purpose. They had him slicing up a bunch of dark troopers. Because you can't have a Jedi butchering people, even if it's stormtroopers. You just can't portray it that way. That's just wrong. I guess.
I mean,
Yeah.
I
tell
guess.
that to the Geonosans who died defending their queen. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I did like that scene. I liked, yeah, Luke basically cutting his way through. I don't know. One thing I've seen some people talking about is they're like, oh, see, this is like, the Luke Skywalker we should have gotten in the Last Jedi, and like, I I don't think this really, like, I don't think this, I don't know. I guess I don't really agree with this because it's like, okay, so he cut his way through a bunch of essentially souped up battle droids. That's not the same as, actually taking on a column of walkers and stuff like that. Like,
That's not
like it was
true.
still really cool and it's still something I totally believe, but it is not the same. This does not, I don't know.
That's
Th-
not really
Like,
what they meant by that, though.
Yeah, that's not what they meant. What they meant was
yeah.
the pussy ass asshole Luke, I guess
Yeah.
that tries to kill
Kylo Ren,
the
Ben Solo.
apprentice
Yeah.
Ben Solo after he has a bad dream. Like that's the thing that was just retarded. Like I think everybody could have forgiven almost anything else about Luke except until that happened. Like that was just not in character for Luke at all. It's bullshit. It needs to get retconned. That's just not okay. Like
I still disagree with that. I disagree, but but that we're not talking about that here. I'm pretty sure I talked about why I disagree with that in our thing of the Last Jedi, but but no, but okay, but I see what you're saying there, and this is, I don't know. This is a younger Luke who's probably fresh out of the Return of the Jedi, and so definitely more, I guess, more like him and more like people would remember. So yeah, but yeah, but no, and I did like it. I don't know, his cameo. A part of me kind of hoped it would turn out to be Ezra Bridger, but I figured it would be Luke. But yeah,
I was hoping it was Luke and that he would just get played by Sebastian Stan or someone.
Hmm.
Because I like Sebastian Stan. I think he's also a very underrated actor.
Either way, it would have
I'm
been
looking forward to
totally.
Falcon and Winter Soldier whenever that happens.
Yep.
I don't like the
All right.
Falcon though. That's the problem. I think that's what everybody's kind of problem is. A lot of people don't like him that much.
Don't like
Yeah,
the
I
actor.
I don't like him in the comics either. I don't like the comics that show is going to inevitably be based on, which is the Falcon
That I don't know
which
about.
is the Falcon
Just-
as Captain America.
I don't have a problem with the actor necessarily. It's to me, it's more that like the way they wrote his character in the movies was kind of lame.
Huh.
Whereas like Ant-Man's kind of lame, but like you all kind of know that he's lame and it's fine, right? Whereas like Falcon, like they write him like he thinks he's badass, and I guess you're supposed to kind of think he's badass, but he's not really. You know what I mean? He just doesn't actually seem badass at all.
To
Whereas
be
like,
fair, that's kind of the way he has always been in the comics since the
yeah,
dawn
well,
of
then I
his
guess
character.
okay. Well, then I guess it's comic accurate. Then it's just not my, it's just not my personal favorite. I guess I'll still watch it though. Hope it's
Fair
good.
enough.
Maybe I'm happy to change my mind. I'm
I
definitely
mean,
more excited about WandaVision because I really, really like Scarlet Witch. So I'll be much more
Anybody
excited.
anybody who has had to write the Falcon in the comics though has essentially been like, how can we make this guy seem like he's even reasonably badass?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's not impossible if you know what you're doing, but
Nothing's impossible. Has it been done yet? No.
just hasn't. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. But yeah, no.
Yeah.
I thought I don't know. I
Uh,
did think Luke was pretty cool here, and yeah, like you said, it reminded me a lot of the hallway scene in Rogue One. So yeah.
so since we're talking about Luke, let's talk about the Grogu in the room. Baby Yoda. He has a name now. It is Grogu. And he ain't gonna be in season 3 because they're probably what they're probably going to do. I know we got a question on this a few weeks ago. It was the only question I got regarding Mandalorian season 2, which is what are they gonna do with Baby Yoda going forward? I think they're gonna just try to like throw him into whatever thing that they have, going on for like post Rise of Skywalker stuff. Like, oh man, he's been hidden all this time, and now he'd be like 100 years old now, which means he's like good. He's old enough to like be a Jedi Master for his race, and he's gonna be like whatever mascot character for whatever saga or series they have planned going forward.
I mean, I don't really see much in the way of anything happening with like Grogu specifically.
Yeah,
I
I
know
would
what
agree with that.
like much because like the dude's maybe if they do like a far flung in the future thing they can bring him back, but like dude's gonna be a baby for a couple hundred more years, so like
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right. He served his purpose. He was cute. We're getting to other stuff now, and I think that's fine. I think that's why they saved. I think they timed it well with okay, well, Baby Yoda's out of the show now, and here's all this expanded shit. So like, yeah, I know everybody's gonna miss Baby Yoda now, but here, look at all this
Now
shiny new
again,
stuff
how's
we
the
have.
dark saber? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Look at all this other shiny new stuff that we have. Please stay around. Please stick around for something besides Baby Yoda. It's like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of cool shit you got going on. I'll stick around without Baby. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't there just for Baby Yoda in the first place, but like, I think they timed that all well. And I don't want the whole thing to just be Baby Yoda the entire time. You know what I mean? Like, it's cute, but I want to see more. I'm glad they're expanding more stuff. I'm happy about that. That's what I wanted. So
yeah. And this was something that before we started the podcast we were talking about Kaguya-sama Love is War and how it takes a format, the will they won't they format, and and spoiler alert, it takes this format that usually gets very old. They basically tried to milk it for as long as they could, but spoiler alert, they actually do get together like 3/4 and have been for like a quarter of the manga now, I think is what you guys were saying. And so
there's like 213 chapters of the manga right now. I think they've been officially together since around 150 or a little bit, somewhere around there, right? It's roughly at that point. I can't remember exactly. I'm not that, but so they've been doing a lot of since then, basically.
Yeah, and so we were talking about how and this is something that happens with a lot of shows, really, with the will they won't they format is once they do, the whole format, the show usually falls apart, and I've actually been kind of thinking about this, and I think that it's probably a good thing that they only had the Grogu plotline for like 2 seasons here of what I'm assuming is probably going to be a longer show, because a lot of times because they're kind of making it clear, because they're kind of letting us know now that this wasn't always going to be what this was about, which is again something that happens a lot of times with the will they won't they format. Is a lot of times the will they won't they thing slips into a show that isn't originally about that. It happened with Arrow. It kind of happened with Castle, but where, once they do, everybody loses all interest in what the show was like actually supposed to be about.
Yeah, well, that
And
happens
in
with
this
almost
case,
every sitcom too.
yeah,
Almost
and
every
so
sitcom has that. They drag it out way too far as well.
yeah, where they either drag it out way too far, and then once they do, everyone just loses interest. So, yeah, I do think that they probably made the right call here is by, okay, Grogu's out of the way, now it's about Din, and it's about, Mandalore, and, it's about him, and I guess it's probably also about, which aspects of Mandalore he wants to follow and he wants to be a part of, I imagine. So, yeah.
Like I would
Yes,
I would
well-
assume, given yeah, they'll probably, it may very well lead to him becoming the Mandalore eventually. Um,
That's
but
my assumption.
but like I think he would be a good guy to take that, because we've seen him kind of like he could be he, from where he's come from and what he has learned so far, he could synthesize those two
Yeah.
things into a like new way that would
Yeah.
be able to bring all of the guys together and finally unite everything.
Yeah.
So I think
Yes,
that would
agreed.
be
We did see that in the Crate Dragon episode. Like he was, able to bring these villagers together with the the Tuscan Raiders and stuff, which is something else actually I really like that they did is they kind of, I don't know, took what originally felt like a joke from like the first season, like, oh yeah, he can communicate with Tuscan Raiders, like that's just something he can do. And then then they bring it up here and it's like, yeah, no, he's like he actually understands them, understands where they come from, and he's he's a peacemaker and stuff between them and these other people where they're normally, constantly at war. That's, kind of cool. So yeah, no, I agree. I think that, if they decide to go the leadership route, he would probably be like, I could see that happening with this character. So,
and
And I
another
agree, like that's the important thing is that with the like it's good that he ended they cut kind of Grogu off now already because
that would definitely
like
interfere with such a thing. Yeah, it
yes,
would.
yeah.
exactly. It would interview a lot of other stuff, and we don't really want that. And it's like what we talked about with the whole will they won't they thing with other shows, that either it stops it. You got to stop after season 2. We're expecting what, at least 4, 5, 6 seasons of this show or something like that, plus all this other stuff
I
that
don't know.
Mandalorian will probably be in. I'm
I
assuming.
I
Right?
only ever assume that there's going to be one more if they announce it, and if they have
Okay.
not said anything about it, then I assume that there's going to be 0, given the current state of things, because shit
Yeah.
gets canceled left and right. You never know what's going to stick around and what's going to leave.
Well, so
Yeah.
either way, then at least that's the end of that thing. But like, obviously, Din Djarin's going to be in other stuff. I guess is my point, right?
Well, they
So-
have announced in season 3, from what I've
Yeah,
heard.
yeah, yeah.
So
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's going to be involved in other stuff. So like, you want to cut off the whole like Grogu thing now, so it doesn't interfere with other things later. Because like with the whole will they won't they thing, you either do it like the Toradora route, where when they get together, that's the end of the show, and you do that well, like that's the whole point, right? Will they, won't they? They will. The end, right?
Yep.
Or you do it the other way, which is like I guess my best example I can think off the top of my head is Love Chunibyo and Other Delusions, where they get together pretty early on in the show, and then the rest of the show is still about them as a couple, blah 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 blah. But the whole point is not will they, won't they, right? You either
Yeah.
decide early or you keep the thing going the whole way. If you get it near the end, it's kind of gets more awkward. So
Yeah.
cutting it off now, stopping now, I think is a good move. I like that.
Or you just
Well,
make
like,
sure
maybe-
that
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
can do it near the end too, and have other ways to do it, but or like quintessential quintuplet, same kind of thing, right? It's basically it's will they, won't they until basically the very end, right? Like that's
Yeah.
the whole premise. They know what they're doing the whole time, right? You either got to go in with that, or you make the couple together now, and then you figure out what happened. You know what's going to happen next, right? But
or you just
don't-
make sure your audience knows what it's actually about and doesn't get too, overly obsessed with this romantic subplot. But yeah,
I either way, I don't like Grogu's deal wasn't really a subplot. That was the whole plot of the first 2 seasons, kind of.
Yeah.
And like, I think they wrapped it up fine, and I'm
Nice.
fine.
Yes, I think they were nicely
I
as
think
well.
I'll probably be fine with whatever the new story is that comes later after it. Which
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming, assuming it's Darksaber, Mandalore shit, which seems really
everybody
interesting.
has assumed this, and
Yeah.
like, it's an excellent assumption. I would kind of, I think probably a good way of going about it is to have like maybe like Bo-Katan end up being a villain of some sort. Just
Mhm.
have her ambition that got squashed revealed, and that she's basically just trying to puppet Din.
Well, we are
That'd
going to
be
want
very
to,
interesting. Hey,
and
I like that.
and we are going to want to know like like how how Bo-Katan lost the dark saber in the first place, and like I don't know how that worked out, because she was Sabine, like before her, Sabine Wren was the one who wielded the dark saber, and she just gave it to Bo-Katan. She said, "You're a better leader of Mandalore. That you'd be better at this than I would." And she just took it then. So the fact that now she's kind of like, "Oh no, I can't accept it as a gift," like kind
Cut
of raises some
to,
questions like, "Oh wow, what happened the first time around? Like, what
cut
did
to
you do
like
wrong?"
Yeah.
cut to like a decade later, and the entire thing has been blown up. A genocide has been committed against everybody. She was
Yeah, they
unable
said
to
that
do anything.
Mandalore's been gassed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was
Well, I mean, like,
unable to do anything about it, and she probably doesn't want to take directly anyway that responsibility
Yeah.
back.
because the thing, like,
Yeah.
Bo-Katan's gone back. If you've watched the other shit, like the show, the animated shows, Bo-Katan's
Yeah.
kind of gone back and forth between being like a good guy and a bad guy.
Yeah, like we
So,
said, yeah.
So it would work. I could see her going either way here, and I think
Yeah.
it's interesting that I like that I could see her going either way.
I
Like,
think
I know Sabine's gonna be a good guy. That's not. Sabine's not gonna be bad. Ahsoka's not gonna be bad, quote unquote, right? But Bo-Katan could, so that's what makes
I,
it
th-
interesting.
I think Bo-Katan will, like, while at least start off reasonably good, and they will probably just play it to a point where she kind of diverges too much from Din and what he's
Yeah.
trying to do. And
Imagine Din having to team up with like Ahsoka and like the Jedi to like stop Bo-Katan. That would be interesting. I could definitely see that happening too.
Yeah.
God,
That is something
you realize
He's against him and he's the bad guy.
you
right?
realize if that happens, we'll probably get baby Adam Driver in this show.
that could be fun.
Baby Ben
if they
Solo.
want to do some like weird like thematic references stuff, he could always look to Bo-Katan and be like, you were the one who like made fun of me for being with these guys who were like overly bound in tradition, but you're the one who still wants to go back to a planet that's basically a rotting dust ball and shit. Like, you,
Yeah.
We're gonna have to see what happened there too.
like,
That'd be
well,
cool. That'd
basically
be
it got
interesting.
nuked.
Yeah.
Repeat
Yeah.
over
Well, that's
and
what they
over.
said. I don't I've only gone through Rebels like once, so I don't remember if that actually happened. If that was in the show or what
Allow
happened
me
there.
to
But
allow me to tell you what happened with Mandalore.
go
Okay,
for it.
so way
Was
back
this
in
on
the day,
Rebels or was this in the
this
novels?
is
Okay, first of all, Robert, remember Mandalore was like that in the Clone Wars, and Rebels was
Yeah.
after the Clone Wars. So
yeah.
it was
So
before that.
basically, Mandalore, way back in the day, got in wars with everybody around them, and the Jedi got pissed off at it, and they decided, what's a cool thing for light side people to do? Genocide. Let's nuke Mandalore. And so then Mandalore got nuked, and the nuking kind of divided them up, and they began infighting amongst themselves, and they were like, guys, what's a cool
And
thing to
Sabine
get
wanted
into
peace,
another
and
class?
the
Well, no,
Dark Watch wanted
no.
war.
Hold up. This is even still before that. This is still before even canonical stuff. So they started infighting among themselves, like you do, and they said, what's a good way to get all these other clans that don't like our clan to stop fighting us? Nuke us more. And so they nuked themselves. And so later on, they continued infighting and doing a bunch of stuff until the pacifist guys eventually came along and coordinated well enough that they were able to take over stuff. At which point, the Death Watch, and all that stuff happened. You know what happened
Yeah.
there. And then later on, after the Empire took control, they were like, well, maybe third time's the charm. Nuke them again, boys. And and they did. And then they sent out not really the equivalent of Inquisitors to go hunt them down, although I would honestly, now that I think of it, be really cool with a show where an Inquisitor is hunting down Mandalorians. That would be pretty dope.
That's
But
what they called them, though, right? Sith Inquisitors?
those were specifically for the purpose of hunting down Jedi and any
Ah,
Force
okay.
wielders who were not yet Jedi but might get hemmed up with Jedi and stuff. But like the Mandalorians, they basically just sent shit tons of stormtroopers after.
Okay. Yeah.
But like either way, like I said, like I could see an Inquisitor maybe being tasked with, hey, we don't think there's any Jedi in this particular sector. You can go hunting these Mandalorians though. That would be cool. Like I could see one of them getting like tasked out to do that. Maybe he's like one of the lower numbers, and he's like, damn. Y'all just fucking handed me these Mandalorian guys. They're actually shittier to deal with than the Jedi. At least with the Jedi, I could
Like the
stab 'em.
25th brother.
Yeah, these motherfuckers got armor that can block lightsabers and shit. I don't have that. What the fuck?
I guess speaking of like Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff like that, I know we already talked about Ahsoka and like her being played by Rosario Dawson, like her, I don't know, her fighting and stuff like that. Something I was kind of thinking about with this was so yeah. So first of all, like I know, or something I noticed is that everyone keeps calling her a Jedi, but she never really she was expelled, and she was again this.
Okay, no.
You wear the trappings of the Jedi. You fight
allowed
like
to come back and chose not to.
yeah.
I chose not to.
Yeah.
Okay, so
she wears the trappings of the Jedi, and she fights like the Jedi. These can be imitated, however. She lacks a thing that a vital quality found in all Jedi. She never went through the stupidity. She never officially went through the trial, so she's actually kind of like a rogue Jedi.
To a certain extent, but still very much in keeping with the ways of the old order. Is like another with her.
But less
like
she has truly become
and less hypocritical.
She has truly become. She
doesn't pretend like, oh, the Jedi don't do this, and then they kind of do it anyway, right? Like that's one of the things that like.
Well, that was something I was
about the Clone Wars is that the Clone Wars TV show shows. Yeah, the Jedi deserved to fall. They kind of sucked ass. Like they were stupid, right? And Yoda. Yeah, spoiler alert: Yoda's kind of an idiot. So that's part of the point, right? And Ahsoka, like one of the things, like I had people tell me, and I saw this, like people were complaining in Ahsoka's episode where she was like literally just mowing down people, and like people were complaining about that, and I literally had to post a thing where it was the picture of Ahsoka in the Clone Wars TV show where she decapitates like 6 Mandalorians in one move. It's like, you didn't see her do this shit before? Like she definitely's done this shit before. Also, not actually a Jedi.
Yeah, and she brought down an entire cruiser full of clone troopers and stuff like that in like her last episode. So something I'm like you said, she doesn't. She's not exactly a Jedi. She's not as she's usually not as sanctimonious as the Jedi a lot of times come across. But that's something that I was wondering about in this episode, in the episode that she shows up in, where she's all like, oh, I can't train him because he's, got too many attachments, and he's, because he's too attached to you, and I've seen, how that destroys people. And I know what she's talking about. She's, met Darth Vader at this point. She knew that he was Anakin. But to me, that's like when she's saying that, she's basically quoting Mace Windu, and Mace Windu was like 3/4 of the reason she refused, like that she said that when the Jedi asked her to come back, she said, no, screw that. He was like, basically 3/4 of the reason. So I was kind of like, wait, since when do you care about this kind of stuff? Since when is this something that, you know, that like, why do you care about this? And it feels like, I don't know, the answer should have just been like, I'm on the road a lot and I'm looking for my little buddy.
Well, I mean, like she's like far. Like I said, she might have gotten to that point where like she herself has become rather hypocritical, and she has still just sort of stuck to everything that they taught her, rather
Well,
than
Maybe.
well,
trying.
what occurred to
Like,
me, what just
We're
occurred
gonna
to
have to
me,
see though, is the thing. The thing is with that is I don't mind it too much because they've already done a decent job of explaining things that we were confused about before later on. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming we will get an explanation. I trust Dave to give us something more. And if it's that she's become a hypocrite, fine. Like you know what I mean? Like I will see, right?
Yeah.
But I'm
yeah,
expecting an answer. I'm not expecting Dave to just leave us
I
hanging on
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
I would
What
expect
occurred to me is
probably
that
be to interact with a post episode fucking 6 Luke, pre episode 7 Luke, in order for her to come about to the idea that it's okay to have friends.
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
what occurred to me is that she has truly become the light side equivalent of Asajj Ventress.
Yeah, pretty
Maybe.
much. But, you know, she got the curvy blades. There ain't nothing we can do, boys. She dead. Take her out
that
behind the.
doesn't have
Adventures was dope.
that doesn't have to be a bad thing. I think they
Adventures
killed her
was
off.
fantastic. I loved Ventress.
Well, when is
Yeah, I
Ventress
think they
gonna
killed her
show
off
up
in
in
the
something
comics,
again?
actually, or in like a novel or something.
I believe she did die in the comics. Or if those
Ventress or
comics
Ahsoka?
are still
I mean,
Ventress.
Ventress.
it makes sense. It makes sense that like she'd be one of the first priority targets after Order 66. Is like, all right,
She,
so the Jedi
Yeah, you
Order
never
is
know with Papa Dave,
dismantled.
though. He could retcon stuff
well,
that's not the shows and movies if he feels. I mean, he's even retconned
I
some
don't,
movie shit already.
I don't even know
So
if those, because those were during like the end of the 6th season of Clone Wars, I think, or something along those lines, that those comics were coming out, and that might not have been even recognized under the new canon or something. I would have to look into it more to figure it out.
Well,
I know.
it's
Yeah, I know
they're
she was
canon
killed
until
off
they're not.
in. Sorry, I know she was killed off in Legends. I don't know if she's been killed off in this new canon continuity or whatever.
I think she was. I think she and Quinlan Voss both ended up dead in those comics eventually.
In this continuity
Yeah,
Whether or not it's in this continuity is what I
or
don't
in
know.
Legends, because I do know that like she teams up with Quinlan Voss and they and they become lovers for a while, and so I'm not sure which continuity that's in, but yeah, they both end up dead. But yeah,
End up going back to the light right before dying, though. So
yeah,
I think so. Like they do kind of have something there. Like if they decide to keep that, it's not going to come up again, seeing as how she died before any of this shit is going on. So like it's somebody
could
might mention
have cool if
like
she shows up in live action, but probably won't.
like the only way she could do it is in spirit form, which she didn't know the technique for, and there's no way she probably
Okay.
so and like even then, like it would have to be
Yeah.
Ahsoka going to like the place of her death and being like, "Yo, Ahsoka, yo, Asajj, you there? You down, Ventress? I gotta fucking do about some stuff. One girl with 2 lightsabers to another." And then Asajj's spirit would show up and be like, "Ahsoka, I fucking hate you. We ain't talking, okay? Fuck you." Ahsoka would be like,
Yeah.
"No, we gotta talk about Jedi shit." And then she'd be like, "Okay, fine, whatever. Fuck it. We'll talk about Force shit." God, still fucking hate you.
Just a total Valley Girl conversation, yeah. But
Fair,
but
that's
no,
what
I do.
Darth Bane in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
He shows up, he's like, "Yo, Darth Bane, let's talk." Bane shows up like, "What you want, bitch?"
Yeah. But no, I do like yeah, no. I thought like so I do have questions about like Ahsoka's characterization and some of the decisions she's making here, but I don't know. Pretty sure I know what her is going to be when they do her show is like she's looking for Grand Admiral Thrawn, probably so she can find Ezra and stuff like that, and yeah, figure that out, which could be kind of cool if we get to see, or yeah, Thrawn or Ezra in live action and stuff like that. That could be cool.
Thrawn almost certainly will. They've
Yeah, probably, yeah.
his shit up like fucking dominoes. They just gotta knock it down now.
Yeah.
Ezra, yeah, I'm not so like. That could go either way. That's a toss up whether or not they ever use him again.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I could see it, but I'm not sure. This is not saying.
It will-
he was in the grand scheme of things, he was nowhere near as important as Darth Vader's apprentice. You know.
Yes.
Ahsoka
And I'm fine with that. He's not my. I mean, I don't dislike him, but he's certainly not my favorite character.
Yeah. Could be kind of interesting if they bring him back and he like meets Luke and is like, "Yeah, I've actually been a Jedi longer than you." Like, like they just have this big dick swinging competition. But yeah.
That is a competition as that is a competition Ezra will fucking lose though.
I know, yeah.
Oh,
Or it
yeah,
could just be where Ezra's kind of like, "Nah, I'm not good. I'm really not good enough to be a Jedi. I've had too many. I've dipped my toe a little too deeply into the dark side in the past." Maybe, yeah.
Like they could.
I defer to you.
Could always basically end up just making him the replacement for Kyle Katarn or some shit like. Although I would suspect that they would use Kyle Katarn before they reused him, to be honest. Just with like if they are really trying to be more fan pandery.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a lot more okay with Dave Filoni being trying to pander to the fans than J.J. Abrams because he's actually kind of good at it.
He does know the right way. He does know how to stick his fingers up there in the correct order and pattern, and hit the correct spots. I would be perfectly willing for him to give me a fan-related prostate exam any day.
Haha, G-spots.
Y'all are so fucking weird.
Hey, you're the one who asked me to fucking be here. It ain't my fault.
I'm about out of. Nice to see a crate dragon in live action. For
that
once,
was pretty cool. Yeah.
After them being such a major part of the lore, especially like Tatooine lore for so long, like all the way back to the original Star Wars, the little skeleton behind C-3PO, he's like, "Over here," was a crate dragon. The shout that Obi-Wan makes to scare the Tuscan Raiders off was a crate dragon.
Which they actually, I love that they actually used that for here. I was like, yay!
Well, I mean, they had to. That's just they sound like.
Yeah, that was cool though. Yeah, seeing the crate, like, and that whole battle was pretty fun there. And like I said, getting to, I don't know, get more into the Tuscan Raiders. It's one of those things where it's like I don't know. I feel like there was a part of people who were kind of like, "Oh, they're going back to Tatooine again."
Yeah.
And then it's like, "Oh, this is actually kind of cool because it's actually going a little deeper into Tatooine and what that planet's all about." So yeah.
The Tuscan Raider, the Tuscan Raider lives matter.
Tuscan lives matter.
Yes. I did find that enjoyable. More so than the return to the original planet from the show with Carl Weathers' character. I did like that episode, but it felt like that was where it really felt like padding, and it really felt like they were just trying to set up future plot lines and try to is the whole thing with like Grogu, Baby Yoda, Moff Gideon, is all that stuff supposed to be like soft retconning what Snoke is and how Snoke came into power? Like, is that what those things were supposed to be?
I think that's what it's supposed to be. Is that like that's how they created Snoke, or that's how they created the Emperor and stuff, or brought the Emperor back or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they might be doing something with that later on. It seems like that doesn't play so much into Snoke though. It seems like they were doing that on Thrawn's orders, so it might get brought back up when Thrawn comes back around, and we might end up with some
Luke
weird.
with 2 U's.
Yeah, I hope not. Everybody asks not. I mean, like, all I know is that my like the favorite thing that they brought in was probably first off the Dark Troopers. That was like a cool
Yeah.
thing to bring in,
Yeah.
and second off, they had that one scene where Darth Vader like comes up to Franklin and he's like, "Ah, hate me because I'm maybe if you got rid of that old ass haircut, you'd get some bitches on your dick."
I don't
Oh,
remember.
better yet, maybe to Michelle call your dog ass if she ever stopped fucking with that brain surgeon or lawyer she's fucking.
Okay.
Why is that like a thing now? Like, GTA 5 is almost 8 years old now. Why is that just now being like a meme?
They already
Only
custom
8?
figured out how to make the character mod software for it, so they have. So somebody just came out with that mod for it on PC, and now everybody has been going around putting in various character mods to replace that, and having different voices for them too.
Oh.
Like, have you, if you've ever seen the Cell one, that one's pretty good.
Yeah, I saw the Vegeta one, which was kind of lame. My favorite
Yeah.
one was Mario. They had Mario do it. Yeah, I'm about out of things to talk about.
Really.
Did do we want to wrap
I
this
did.
up?
Well,
The only question we got was like, what are they gonna do with Grogu?
Nothing. Go away.
He's going. We're gonna jump 10 years into the future. He's going to appear in a dream to Din, saying, "Abandon me, or dead." Something, and then he's gonna find out that he was killed by Kylo Ren or whatever. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I don't know
I
what they're
don't
gonna
know.
do. If they do, I have no idea. They could do absolutely nothing. They could do something jumping way in the future with him. As of right now, I've got no idea. I hope we don't see him for a while, though. I kind of feel
Yeah.
like we need to like disconnect from that because, like I said
Distance.
before, like they think they did a good job ending where they did. Right, we did our whole rom-com romance like analogy of they did a good job. They nipped it in the bud in a good spot. I hope they keep it that way at least for a while. You know what I mean? I don't think we need
Yeah.
more Grogu. I liked Grogu, but you don't need that to be like
Mhm.
the whole thing. Like,
Yeah.
and I think they know that. I think they want to separate from that because they know like they need to have more substance than just baby Yoda cute, go
Yeah.
burr. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So overall, I do think this was a solid season. I'm really interested to see what they do here, and I'm more interested in the book of Boba Fett or whatever that's also coming out around the same time this next December.
Because that's got Fennec as like probably like the
Mhm.
number 2 character, and it's like yes,
Yeah, yeah,
How in the
she's
living
awesome.
name of
awesome.
Hellfuck can you possibly be more interested in the stupid ass book of Boba Fett than in the Amazon Big Titty GF Cara Dune's show? Jesus Christ, man.
I think Fennec's cooler. I'm not gonna lie. I don't dislike Cara Dune. I think Cara Dune's cool, but I think Fennec's cooler.
Is Kara
No.
getting her own show, or
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah,
That was kind of cool.
everyone's
Also, I
getting
don't-
their own
I'm gonna
show.
watch all of them. Okay, it's not like I'm not gonna watch all of them. All right. The
Yeah.
thing I'm most nervous about is the Rogue Squadron movie because the director just directed another terrible movie. So
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that one's like controversial, and I don't know which way to think about it. Like, there's been a lot of people saying that it's good, and I've people say it's bad. Like, generally, when there is that much like divergence on it, it's usually pretty shit. But like, I don't know in this case because it seems like a lot of the people you would expect to be saying it one way have actually said the other. So I'm a little bit
The
confused
other
about.
thing is like when they talked about it, she said like, yeah, it's like it's gonna be a movie all about like about space, about like ship fighting. Like, so if she wants to just make like a mindless like explosion movie,
Fighting.
fine with
Top
that.
Gun
Like
in space, bro.
Yeah,
but that's what
just give us Top
she's
Gun in
going into
space.
it thinking that I'm good with that and it'll probably be good. It doesn't need to be
Yeah,
mind blowing. I want just really, really good, like if we get like the the space battle and like the X-wing fighting that we got at the end of Rogue One in a movie the entire time, then I will be happy. That's all I need.
it was
Because
only
that
a movie
battle was
show.
so good.
I thought it was a show. Is it? Is it?
I don't know.
What is the movie?
Oh, okay.
Huh.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure.
I know. I
can
know.
double check, but I'm pretty sure
We'll find out more about that when there's more to find out. And if you want to find out more about us, like, comment, and subscribe. I don't know. I don't even know if we're ready to do that yet. I just saw the segue, so I took it.
I think we're good.
I mean, it's fine. Oh wait, shit, fuck. Like if you're some sort of company sponsor shit, like
Yeah.
I don't care, money, give it. Do it now. I'll send you feet.
No,
Go do it,
yeah,
I've seen 'em.
I'm interested to at least like give all of these shows a chance because
Yeah.
I have Disney Plus. Well, technically, my sister has Disney Plus for my niece, and I just have their password. And so, if I'm going to like have access to it, I might as well give all of these shows, both all the Marvel stuff that's coming out and all the Star Wars stuff that's coming out. I might as well give it a chance, Uh, and if it's interesting enough, we'll do podcasts on those too, or not, or maybe we'll just do the Clone Wars podcast we've been talking about for like 2 years now.
Look, you gotta do a lot of stuff on a lot of things, okay, just to
Yeah.
keep fucking shit flowing and keep that stuff churning out until eventually we all become so broken inside that we question why we're doing this, and eventually just wears on us so much that we become too big for our britches and start having internal drama with each other, a la Doug Walker. That's
Oh
what we
man.
can
That's
I got
the
dark.
true end game, the breakup of the podcast crew.
I mean,
Uh,
like you gotta play it. This is the long haul, okay? What'll
Yeah.
it be over? Will there be women involved? Who knows?
Probably
It'll,
not.
it'll probably be when I get published and get super famous as an author and just decide to throw YouTube away en masse, and then you guys try to start up your own like In Sync without Justin Timberlake band on your own YouTube channel.
Aren't we full of ourselves?
I
I
could
mean-
not do that because I hate editing so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Editing anything is just the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
yeah.
Like,
Anyway,
I want to.
But I bet I could, maybe, if I cared.
yeah. Who knows?
I
That's
think you
so
could,
far
I,
off.
I think Coop could. I think that's true, but you'd have to care enough, Coop. That's the problem.
No, I'd probably be too busy with like doing actual work by that point in time.
I was gonna say, do I think Coop could do it? Yes. Do I think Coop could care enough? No, I don't.
Yeah. So anyway, if you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what else you would like us to cover on a podcast, because we will take suggestions. It does not mean we will do them. So just throw enough shit at the wall. Something will be bound to stick. Just keep telling us to do the Clone Wars podcast. We'll get to them eventually. And check out my other content. We're still in the Ruby hiatus, but I got some other good videos, or some other just videos in general, coming out in the next few weeks. And yeah, support me on Patreon. Join the Discord. If you support my Patreon, you will get access to the Secret Squirrel server, where you will get more like up to date information on what I'm working on and how my thought process is going on things. And
It's a
you'll have a much
process, guy.
you'll have a
The
much bigger say
Yes.
in what I end up doing.
I'm just saying, like, you know, I constantly brag about the oxy-induced Batman raping the Joker dream, but some of his dreams were pretty off the wall too.
Yeah. Uh. So
That was
yeah.
a extra.
Have a good night,
I
everyone.